Coinbase is rolling out features such as mortgages for the grown-ups, but it turns out most crypto users don't even understand taxes. But more on that in a second. Welcome to Cryptocurrents, the weekly podcast of people working in crypto and blockchain talking about everything that you need to know to be better at crypto, blockchain, and finance. Think of us like a fresh pot of coffee. We're giving you a great start to your day, we perk you up, and we send you on your way. I'm your host, Vince, and today I'm joined by our resident degen, Kale.
Cheers, mate.
And Katya from the Mew team.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, so
The bouquet of flowers?
yes.
Yeah, I did like that intro. I liked the bouquet of flowers.
Because
I
the
thought it was
two
great.
times back that I hosted, you were upset that I didn't do a joke. So I did one this time, and I was wondering if you
I was very
noticed it.
proud, and thank you again for filling in for me while I was having a ski vacation by the pool. But let's talk about crypto, shall we? So let's kick things off. Right now, ECC is going on, the Ethereum Community Conference, which takes place in, I guess, now at Cannes. I miss when it was at Paris. We're not there, obviously, because we're here there with you. But there's a lot of things being unveiled, a lot of like memes going around. But I want to specifically talk about the Ethereum Economic Zone, which is a new, I guess, initiative or plan. What is the best way to describe this? A framework of a plan on how to solve the fragmentation of layer 2. Katya, you look perplexed.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Ethereum Economic Zone, which the abbreviation EEZ is just too much like Yeezy for anybody's comfort. But, and also, of course, it makes me think of like the EU, which is, depends on your point of view, whether that's a success or not. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's like we talked about Ethereum's manifesto era a few episodes back, and this seems like another manifesto, more and more of the same.
Yeah.
And now the more I think about it, the more it is like EU, in the sense that it's all about keeping ETH the main token.
Yeah.
We're gonna have one currency across all that. So yeah, I think it's a continuation of the framing of how layer twos are gonna work together and trying to keep Ethereum the main thing, but also trying not to offend the layer twos and estrange them, because after the layer 2 declarations a few weeks back by Vitalik, some people were going on like bankless podcasts and things like that and going like, we are all about our community and we are not about to abandon our community. And so what users of optimism or whatever it might have been Arbitrum want is what we're going to think about. Like, we don't care what Vitalik thinks a layer 2 is supposed to be. So I think they're just trying to, it's like a Davos, giving Davos vibes. They're trying to create a framework that's going to keep everyone friendly and happy, but keep ETH in the center of things, which I guess should keep the ETH bag holders happy who have been so unhappy recently. So I don't know. It's just a little bunch of politica.
Yeah. Okay. So you're just thinking this is a continuation of the manifesto era, which I pretty much agree. I do like the acronym because it's supposed to be easy. Like easy is 1, 2, 3, which made me laugh when I read it. But Kale, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean the acronym is definitely marketable. Very easy, no pun intended. Very easy to remember and chill and talk about. But yeah, I mean, generally, I'm a fan of the idea. The way I understand it is like it's kind of like its own department of Ethereum, and they're solely focused on figuring out the L2 fragmentation. So yeah, I mean, generally, cool news. It makes sense in my eyes because Ethereum is very decentralized. So you have people like Vitalik, and you have people who are going on Bankless defending their L2s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Something like this makes sense where it's like there has to be at least some conglomerate that's like, okay, this is our job. We're gonna just we're focused on the L2s, and then all you other ETH devs can figure out the rest of Ethereum, like the privacy and whatnot. But yeah,
I like that it gives me another like group to watch and be like, what are you actually delivering? So for me, I'm kind of like putting this in the same basket as the Etherealized team. I'm like, okay, you are barefoot in Vanity Fair. That helps us how?
Vince's throw pillows and shit lists. This is the two main hobbies.
Well, ironically, my shit list is also on a throw pillow, and I just stitch in the new things.
Just add on to it.
Exactly. So I think it'll be interesting for me to kind of watch and be like, okay, do something like.
Yeah, and like Katya mentioned, like the way I feel about it is honestly like estrange them all, cast them out into the wilderness, and see who survives. I do think there are too many L2s, so it's like if certain L2s and companies are beginning to feel cornered and pressured, it's like, good, dude, like you guys need to do something. There's too many.
No, I agree with that. All right, so let's continue with our talk about Ethereum and talk about the kind of like drama on crypto Twitter this week, which is around quantum computing being able to break Bitcoin in 2029. Kale, you're the one that brought this up, I assume, because you're always the one that sends me Twitter links. Talk to me a little bit about this.
I mean, it's kind of like pie in the sky. Yeah, I feel like quantum articles like this come out every so often.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really believe it. It feels like another, just like, I guess, hit piece, for lack of better words, because specifically why it feels like a hit piece to me is, so this paper, it's a Google research paper, and one of the authors of the paper works for Ethereum Foundation. His name's Justin Drake, and he, in the Google paper that he helped author about how quantum is coming by 2029 and it's gonna, uproot everything, he specifically was attacking Bitcoin and proof of work. So it's like, dude, of course, the guy who gets paid by Ethereum is dunking on proof of work and saying like how, it's old tech and Ethereum's better, proof of stake is better, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I don't know, that combined with the fact that we see these quantum scare pieces like every other month, it's like, I don't know, it kind of feels like a nothing burger to me.
That's fair.
I doubt we'll have quantum by 2029, but like, what do I know?
Yeah.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Katya, what's your take?
Sorry, I have sirens. I don't know if you guys will get some.
Yeah,
I apologize.
that's fine. Yeah. I'm sure AI can fix this, and if it can't, that's because AI sucks.
Yeah, but I was going to say, but remember the fancy Ethereum roadmap that we were talking about a few episodes ago, and quantum resistance was one of the main paragraphs of it. So Ethereum also, at least that cohort of Ethereum, acknowledges that Ethereum is also under threat. Like every blockchain, and Ethereum as well, is under threat from quantum computing. And I remember that I was saying that, like, I believe all of it except maybe the quantum resistance by, what was it, 2030? I forget now. 2029.
Yeah.
Well, in that roadmap.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm trying.
So it might have also been 2029, maybe. But in any case, they are in the same ballpark. Like the people who did that document agreed that was around that year is when we should already be ready by. And so despite this Ethereum developers' participation in dunking on Bitcoin, elsewhere in Ethereum, people agree that quantum resistance is necessary by this time, and some believe that it is possible by this time. And it seems like CZ joined the conversation of the Binance, and
CZ of the Binance,
right,
of the realm of Singapore.
Yeah. And was basically saying, this is scaremongering. Like, yes, quantum resistance needs to happen, but we already know how to do it. Like, there are upgrades that are going to be done and already available. Yeah, I think it's all conjecture. Like, the readiness of quantum technology is conjecture. The vulnerability of blockchain to it now is conjecture, the vulnerability of blockchain to it in 2029 is double conjecture.
Yeah.
So I think the lesson, and all of these pieces mentioned also that holders of self-custody wallets, basically you need to pay attention to what's happening, which is always the case for self-custody wallets, which is always the case for life and any kind of investments you may have. I've read that some Bitcoin addresses that are very early are already under threat cryptographically because they are earlier. And I'm unfortunately not equipped like right now to say exactly which ones they are. But basically, like if you have an old Bitcoin address, look into this. You maybe should move it to a newer address with the new key. But I think this is for like really old Bitcoin addresses.
Yeah.
So maybe not anybody who is a retail investor in the past 10 years. God,
Bitcoin's old.
Right. I know, right? It's something to pay attention to. Some self-custody wallets may need to take action, whether it is to transfer to a newer account with a newer cryptographic key or whatever it might be. But like, I don't think anybody's getting their wallet hacked tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
I've heard conspiracy theories on Twitter that there are specific government agencies that already have quantum, and as like hard as it is to believe,
No.
yeah,
There's no way.
obviously, because like everything would be breaking by now. But like the one thing that like kind of made it believable for me was somebody brought up the point that like if somebody were to have like a quantum like thing that breaks Bitcoin addresses and breaks everything that the world runs on, to be fair, those people like would want to be stealthy about it, so they would be breaking into like old Bitcoin addresses in order to make money off of this without letting everybody else know that like we've broken quantum.
Yeah, one intriguing thing that I thought was really interesting is and I think CZ was the one who mentioned this, is that Satoshi's addresses are old. So if we see that money moving, he or they or she are still around. And if we don't see that money moving, then what should be done about it so that it's not, once quantum, reality hits, so that somebody doesn't just get that shit for free.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a fun thing to look out for as well. And
apparently a lot of the Bitcoin addresses have been moving like in the last year, which was like the seed of this.
Interesting.
But yeah, time will tell.
I feel like all of it reminds me, Kale, you're probably too young to remember, but the Y2K bug, where everyone was like looking at
everything
the Y2K
is gonna break,
and and everyone like blows it up. They're like, nothing broke, and I'm like, well, that's because hundreds of thousands of people spend hundreds of thousands of hours making sure that this wouldn't break. And people are like, Y2K was nothing. I'm like, it was. It would have been horrible, but there were smart people involved, and so I do like that there are smart people involved in protecting crypto from quantum computing, because that feels very much akin to that. And that people will be like, see, quantum computing did nothing. And we'll be like, well, that's because people worked their fingers to the bone to making sure it didn't. Yeah. But okay, let's pivot away from Ethereum and let's talk about some retirement stuff. So the Labor Department just issued a proposal to include assets like crypto, real estate, and private equity into 401ks. This has always been like a big thing of, bringing crypto into 401ks and into retirement plans, things like that. I think public.com, the TradFi investing app, is soon rolling out or has already rolled out crypto in their Roth IRAs. But people are excited about this. I'm not particularly excited about it just because it's been a narrative for so long. But talk to me about it, guys. Am I just a curmudgeon-y old man yelling at clouds, being like, I've been saying this for years?
100%.
So you're excited about it?
Dude, I am. Like, because I don't max out my 401k, because the way I look at it is like I have a certain amount. Like, I can only afford to invest so much, And so when I have my money that I'm investing, I need to decide like where is it going to go, like what has the best ROI for what I'm looking for and how long I want to hold it in there and all this blah, 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 And 401k is like so low on that list for me, because it's like there's so many other things I would put my money in before a 401k. But now that I can hold Bitcoin or Ethereum or other cryptos in a 401k, all of a sudden it becomes like 1,000 times more appealing to me because
Okay.
of the conviction that I have in crypto assets. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Well, this
like
is good because word around the office was you were upset last week because you got caught bag holding some crypto. So I'm glad your positivity is back.
oh, that was so bad. Don't even bring that up. But yeah, like the 401k, I'm definitely excited about this. Like I'll probably
Okay.
start maxing out a 401k now, like assuming I can throw Bitcoin and ETH in there.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I mean, you are the young optimist. Katya, are you on team curmudgeon or team optimist or somewhere in between?
Well, one thing that I'd like to say, though, is that we talked about this back when Trump signed an executive order about this.
Mm.
And that was in August. And back then, or on one of the occasions when we talked about his executive orders, you Vince always say, like, this literally means nothing. And it's true. Executive orders don't mean anything until they're law, or shouldn't mean anything in any case until they're law. And when I first saw this, I was like, follow up. So it's kind of like something is happening. He had this executive order, and now something is moving along. And I think kind of the news here is that um arguably, I think legally nothing was preventing private institutions or even whatever from adding alternative assets into 401ks. It's just that they are not protected
Yep.
um, against litigation and things like that if those often riskier assets end up losing money to the people. So this movement with the Labor Department means that now rules and protections can be put in place where those institutions will be protected even with these asset classes, which means that they will be more likely to take the plunge. So it's like they could do it before, but they didn't want to because it was too risky for them.
Right.
But if the risk is mitigated by there being an official framework, like governmental framework for it and protections, then they will do it. And so I think that's the main point here, that progress is actually happening. So it's not just like somebody somewhere said it's actually going to be maybe implemented, and then some organizations, some institutions are going to do it, some not. And I guess we'll get to see whether people are supporting this with their money, whether, like, if you get to choose one that does have crypto and private equity, although private equity has been hurting, but like overall
Yeah.
alternative real estate and private equity and crypto, if younger people now, like our strapping young men here, are going to be more interested in those and are going to vote with their money, then it's going to take off. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't recall seeing any timeline about like when this would
No.
come to fruition. Yeah. So I mean, it's still a promise on a piece of paper, but I do agree.
Now there are two
It's
pieces of paper.
another
The
two.
stack
Now
is
there's two.
growing. The
That's
stack of
right.
papers is
Eventually, we'll be able to reach the top shelf. But yeah, now I mean, Kale's optimism is rubbing off on me, which I appreciate because yeah, that has always just been the promise of crypto for the last 10 years that I've been in it. And it never really came to fore. But hopefully this will. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But this does segue nicely when you talked about real estate into Coinbase, which opened the show talking about Coinbase introducing the first crypto-backed mortgage with Fannie Mae. And then I also want to talk about their survey with taxes. But let's save dunking on crypto users for the end. Let's talk about the crypto-backed mortgages. Katya?
well, yeah. I mean, this is, as you say, very much in the same vein as the K thing in terms of, I think the current statistic is like almost half Gen Z and millennials own crypto at this point.
Really? I didn't know that. That's
Like
crazy.
40 something percent.
Whoa.
I just saw that today somewhere. I hope I'm
Hmm.
not just completely making this up, but I think I saw this somewhere. I mean, maybe they own like some dust in a wallet, but
That's what it is for sure.
yeah, but still, like, and the main point being that that percentage is definitely much higher than Gen X or baby boomers, right?
Yep.
So And so, as with the 401ks, there is potential for more excitement about this because I think the way it works is that you put up your crypto as collateral for the down payment. And so you keep your crypto, you make the down payment, you still get a mortgage, but you get to collateralize your down payment. I think. I'm
Yeah.
not entirely sure. And I do believe that if you do that, then your mortgage is going to be a couple of percent or 0.5% or 1% more.
Yeah.
So you are
Got to offset that risk.
you are penalized a little bit for that. But yeah, like it opens that avenue. I don't know how many of those almost 50% own enough crypto to collateralize a down payment.
Yep.
But why not?
One thing that I really like about this, as someone that has like dealt with like weird problems where, you know, when it comes to mortgages or when it comes to rent, like people don't care about the value of your assets or the fact that you have assets. They're like, but what's your salary? And so like there's a funny story in my life where we were looking to rent a new apartment and they were like, show proof of your salary. And I'm just like, well, I'm a business owner, so I take a drawdown. And they're like, no, we need a W-2. And I'm like, I don't have that. Like, I'm a business owner. I don't have a W-2. And they're like, well, then I guess your wife is gonna have to like qualify for this apartment on her own. And I'm like, but I have money. I have money here. Look at the money. And they're like, no, salary W-2 only. And I'm like, this is Los Angeles. You're not used to seeing like contractors
No,
or
yeah,
like
100
alternative methods.
crazy.
This is actually good because I have been I've been a US citizen for like 30 years, but like I've been an international traveler and liver, and I've yeah, and I've known a lot of people in similar, people from Europe who come to the US to work or study temporarily, or and exactly, Vince, you're saying like even if you're like, I will prepay the year,
Yep,
in cash.
Yep.
Nope.
Nope.
Not interested. And it's kind of like, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
People are surprised by seeing this. And I've had friends who would be like, well, I'll go and, because like in some places in Europe and definitely in Ukraine, where I'm from, you can go and find an apartment to rent in a day. You give your passport, you give it like a down payment for 3 months, and that's it. You're done. They don't need to know anything else about you. And they would be like, well, I'll rent an apartment. I'm like, no, you won't. You will need a co-signer who has lived and earned a salary for 20 years before anyone lets you in anywhere.
Yeah. No, so and so this is like a great example of like a step towards that, where if you do have assets where you can be like, cool, qualify for me for a mortgage more readily. I don't care if I have to pay an extra percentage. I just think that's a good step, and it's great for crypto, I think. But
100%.
yeah,
Do you guys
you're on board with that,
remember
Gail?
do you guys remember in late 2024 when I was calling realtors and asking if they did this?
No,
I remember. I do.
I don't remember that at all.
It was late 2024.
Okay.
And it was December specifically, and I was literally calling like Zillow places and being like, do you guys take Bitcoin collateral? And I was getting denied. I got denied by like every single person, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, I'm so happy to see this, because yeah, it's like, we did it, boys. We did it. We finally, we pressured them to the
we
point.
We can move out of our mom's basements, finally.
Straight up. I do feel partly responsible, even though, I have, I had no hand in this.
But you put pressure on them. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You are a conscious citizen.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm one ant in this colony, but
out there in the trenches.
Hell yeah. But yeah, no, I love it. I love to see this news because, yeah, I mean, like I've mentioned a million times, my conviction in crypto is like so high. So to be able to, pay for your mortgage or get a mortgage by collateralizing your crypto, you don't have to sell your crypto. You keep your crypto and then you pay an extra percent on your mortgage. But it's like, for somebody like me who believes that crypto is going to outperform that 1% extra cost. It's like, it's whatever.
I'm wondering if I can see it in the Coinbase app, because I haven't looked at in my Coinbase app. I don't have any Bitcoin in my Coinbase app anyway, so maybe it doesn't show to me. I don't see it off the bat, so I'll have to look at that later. But let's talk about taxes, right? So it's April, 15 days. We're recording this on April 1st, but don't worry, this is not April Fool's for you, dear listener. So taxes are due in 15 days. And it turns out that, to not my surprise, but in a recent survey from Coinbase, no one understands crypto taxes. Kale, dunk on him.
I mean, it makes sense, dude, in my head.
Kale, do you understand crypto taxes? Let's start with that.
No, not at all. Because, so like, the reason why this completely tracks in my head is because it's like, yeah, dude, obviously crypto is like a completely new asset class. Like you can lock up your funds and earn a yield. You can provide, you can join a pool with others that provides liquidity for trading specific tokens. So it's like all these new mechanisms that didn't exist before. And then it's like, so how do these apply to taxes? You know, if I was in an LP and, you know, like all these things make it so complicated. That on top of the fact that for a long time when crypto was first created, it was kind of like a very wild, wild west. Like, I don't know the right word, but like that's kind of like the vibe, I guess. Like people were coming into crypto assuming that like, oh, this is a place where I can like do crime and like the IRS won't see it. And so like in the beginning, at least, like it attracted people like that who wanted to be wild, wild west with their money. And then at this point, that mindset has kind of carried over, you know, into 2026. And like the industry as a whole we're definitely maturing, you know, we're like doing all the legal stuff correctly and bringing stocks on chain. But there's like a huge conglomerate of people who have been here for like 10 plus years and still have that wild, wild west mentality where they're like, yeah, bro, we're on chain. Like, we don't got to pay taxes. The IRS isn't going to find me. Like, YOLO, bro. But I mean, yeah, good luck to those people, dude. Because I mean, crypto's definitely reaching a place where it's like, yeah, this isn't really wild, wild west. You know, this is just the next evolution of finance. So the IRS is coming for you no matter where you go.
100%. I mean, I think that there's probably a great opportunity for the on-chain sleuths of the world to go work for the government and the IRS in the next few years.
Dude, that's such a good point.
Because
if AI doesn't take it.
I mean, AI might take it, but I don't think it will. But yeah, no, AI might. But in the meantime, I think there's a lot of job opportunity if they ever actually fund the IRS, which I think they will if they're like, oh yeah, go chase down this prick and get back a few Bitcoin.
100%.
Like the government will absolutely do it. But Katya, what are your thoughts on people not knowing crypto taxes?
Well, my thought, I don't know if this is a hot take, and I don't think it is, but I don't think crypto is the problem. Do you understand regular taxes?
No.
Yeah,
that's also a great point.
Great point.
Like, I think the US is, I haven't done taxes in other countries, so I can't really, as an adult myself, have not done this, right? But I feel like most people don't really understand taxes in general. And I think we can all agree that it is a combination of just incompetence and purposeful obfuscation.
Yep.
You know, so like a lot of things, like legal things, like medicine, unfortunately, you know, so, and I think it's just a tragic thing when, like, my daughter, for example, like, you know, she's 18 and they had at her school, like, classes about taxes and whatever. Like, one of the things, like, about adulthood that scares her most is taxes. She is terrified. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, you should be scared maybe about getting sick, you know, like, you shouldn't be scared about doing regular, you know, accounting paperwork for yourself. It shouldn't be confusing and frightening and daunting. And And so I think the crypto kind of confusion is just an extension of the general confusion. It is more confusing because, as Kale says, there are new products, some things, it has been changing over time. And if you have events that are stretching back like 15 years, you don't even know anymore, like what the hell, So if you're just on Coinbase or Robinhood or whatever, they send you a form, fine. But if you have self-custody, so that's harder. So that discourages, self-custody, which is maybe not a design yet, but will become a design going forward, So I just think it's like, it's a general problem. Like, those memes where it's like, we know exactly how much you owe, but you have to guess. And if you're wrong, you go to jail. Like, that is literally it. It's just kind of like, and this is one of the things that I am generally against AI, as you all know. But this is one of the things that, like, you get the forms from your job, from whatever. Why are we not at a point yet where I just upload the forms and in human language, like, it asks me, like, how many people do you live with? How old are they? What are some of the things that you paid for this year that you think are outrageous? Okay, so these things we agree are outrageous, so we'll
Chanel
deduct them.
shoes.
Right. These things, yeah, we agree are outrageous, so let's deduct them. Okay, these things, that's on you. So, whatever. Done. Why are we not there yet? Why am I filling out little boxes named ridiculous, stupid things that I can't even understand what it's asking? Like, and so, so I don't think it's like, oh, crypto is so Wild West, or crypto people are so dumb, or crypto people are trying to hide things. I think it's just an extension of the general tax shit show that just goes on in this country. That's all.
Yeah, I agree that, of course, we know taxes are purposefully made difficult. No one's going to jail for getting their taxes wrong unless you are like doing it on purpose. They will tell you, hey, you got it wrong. It was $200 more.
Also, I am also like, I don't understand why people are so excited about like refunds. And you'll get a tax refund. It's like, you shouldn't have paid that tax in the first place.
Straight up.
Why are you excited about getting a refund? They should have gotten it right. And it's kind of like, when you pay tax and then you get a refund, it's like you're giving a % free loan to the government.
Exactly.
Every year. And then when they decide they will do it, which who knows when it will be, because they have cuts and they don't have enough people and whatever. And then they'll give back the money that they shouldn't have taken in the first place.
Yeah, no, it's an insane system. Like, didn't people in Boston literally like start a war because their tea was going to be taxed at like 1% or something? Like, why can't we get back to those days? Like, where are those men?
Well, that's because they didn't get to vote. It was no taxation without representation. Let us vote, and then you could tax us. You can't just tax us.
Where have all the cowboys gone?
Where have all the revolutionaries gone? Where have all the colonists gone? But no, I think yes, there's a problem with taxes. There's a problem with it, the education of it. Although I don't necessarily agree with that when people are like, why don't we teach taxes in high school? I remember high school. I wouldn't have paid attention in tax class in high school. I wouldn't have retained none of it.
True.
Like, it is so that's kind of like, something that I don't think is a great argument. But what I think is interesting is that because crypto is kind of a new form of money, rather, despite it being a new form of money or whatever you want to view it as, people don't necessarily think of it as money once you've got it. Like, it becomes this magic internet points, these magic numbers that you're just like, yeah, do this, do that, do the other. Whereas if it was actual like USD, I think a lot of people would be more like careful and slower and hesitant. And because of that Wild West, like YOLO, do whatever, then it just becomes complicated and purposeful. Yeah. So
random thought you just knock loose. You know how like people don't really care about crypto? Like, a great way to get them to care is like you give them some. Like they don't care until they have some of their own. That would be a good way to introduce it into schools. Like if kids had like just $1 of Ethereum, I mean, maybe the cost adds up over time, but it's like, if we're teaching kids about taxes, and like kids won't care, maybe if they have $1 of like something, then they can like actually see numbers changing and stuff like that could affect the outcome.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Get them hooked young. Make it a game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gamify it. But you know what we're not going to gamify? The listening to this podcast, because we've reached the end, and you know that we're going to be back here week over week. No surprises, no loot boxes, just giving you everything you need to know about crypto. So thank you, dear listener, for joining us today. Make sure you tell a friend about the show. We love it when people bring in new viewers. Kale, Katya, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all in the next week.
But
Bye.
Bye.